We'll just move on quickly to our next topic. And in fact, this would have been our first topic for today. We're going to be talking about the passports service, and the Foreign Affairs Ministry, as at yesterday, the 1st of April, officially put out a statement indicating that they were raising the price for passport applications from 100 Ghana cedis to 500 Ghana cedis for the 32-page booklet and to 644 Ghana cedis for the 48-page booklet under the standard service. Now, if you want expedited service, you would have to pay 700 Ghana cedis for a 32-page booklet and 800 Ghana cedis for a 48-page booklet. So that's it on your screens. As you can see, if you were paying 100 Ghana cedis for 32 pages, now you pay 500. 48 pages, it was 150, you pay 644 cedis. If you want it expedited, we're going to 700 and 800. And in fact, the ministry says that there's a need for this to happen, because Ghanaians need to start paying realistic prices for passports that they acquire to travel beginning this year. And I remember that sometime last year, the Deputy Minister for Foreign Affairs held a press briefing where he indicated that Ghana was spending a lot of money on printing passports, and this was in support of Ghanaians. So if you were paying 100 Ghana cedis, they had to spend an extra 300 Ghana cedis just to print your passports. And we're gotten to a point where we could not afford it anymore as a nation, which is why they decided to give it to us to pay directly. And we were paying the lowest. In fact, as it stands now, we're still paying the lowest, because if you look at the other countries and how much they're charging, at the moment, Cameroon charges $180, Guinea $57, Guinea-Bissau $65, Burkina Faso $80, Nigeria $54.29, and Liberia is $40. And so we're still the lowest, and we need to find a way to print the backlog and clear them. And that's why this is happening. I mean, the minority in Parliament is not too happy about this, and in particular, Honorable Sam Okudzeto-Ablakwa, he says that, the committee is not happy that the prices were increased, just like that. They had advised that it's done gradually, instead of just jumping from 100 Ghana cedis to 500 or 700, and that's where they have a problem with. Richard, I'll come to you first so you can expatiate on this matter and why we could not have increased it gradually, because Ghanaians are already complaining. Yesterday, we spoke to a few of them who said, then it means that lots of them will not be able to get passports.
Yes, Bella, I mean, it's true. I'm a Ghanaian. I will be paying for this particular amount. My family, they are all Ghanaians. They will be paying for this particular amount. Any increment whatsoever will generate an uproar, because, of course, we don't want to, because the current situation that we have here. But I want to clear the perception, not on this actually particular channel, but being propagated by our friends in the other side, that this is actually a government initiative to increase the passport.
Is it not?
It is not, because increments like these are statutory, and these are backed by acts of law. So usually, and particularly in this situation, it was Honorable Okudzeto who raised it in Parliament, and he was raising questions as to why there's a huge backlog of passports, the delay, and what have you. And so Parliament decided to invite the Foreign Affairs Minister to come and answer some questions. And so she came, and then he realized that she actually exposed that the real situation affecting the backlogs and delay of passports were financial constraints, as you rightly put it. For some time now, for every passport issued to a citizen, you pay 100 cedis for the normal one. Government is paying between 200 and 300 cedis. And we all know the situation that we are in economically as a nation. And government has been probing the ministry that it is unsustainable. And so they should find ways to address these. Okay. So after she went to Parliament, there is this subsidiary legislation committee, 25-member, chaired by an NDC MP, the former Attorney General, Dr. Anyene. He is the chairman of that subsidiary legislation committee. They invited Foreign Affairs to come up with reasons why they need to increase or review the payment. So after their deliberation, Bella, for my understanding, there was no objections, because they explained to them that the cost of production has increased. the cost of running, even getting the booklet has increased, and every other aspect. It has become. It has come to a point where they are actually running a loss, because for every passport produced, government is owing 300 cedis. And look at the number of Ghanaians who are embarking and disembarking and trying to get passports. So it puts a lot of pressure on the ministry and government. And government actually threatened the Foreign Affairs that they are no longer going to subsidize this. And so it became clear that they needed a revolution in that aspect, given that all our neighboring countries, blah, 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 as you've just elaborate. So the subsidiary the legislation committee then sat to agree on these prices. And this review committee, you see, when they agreed and accepted that particular document or the proposal from the Foreign Affairs, it then went to the plenary.
How much did they agree on? Was it the same fee that we're seeing out here, or was it a lower fee?
Per the information given to me, if there was any objection, they had 25-member committee. It is a non-bipartisan decision. So if there were to be any objection from the committee level, it went to the main floor, gazetted for 21 days for it to mature. And none, either side, the MPP, NDC, including the Honorable Okujeto Ablakwa, did not raise a finger.
You know that for sure.
I know that for sure.
Not raise any objection to it.
Nothing objection.
Privately?
Nothing. Because I made an inquiry before coming here. Yesterday, I called one of the MPs who sits on this committee, and I tried to find out, because I am a Ghanaian. Any increment is going to affect me. You see, so especially when I'm on TV3, when my family are watching that, they think that you've arrived.
Hey.
So the point is that it's going to affect each and every one. But we don't have to be hypocritical, because this is the system. I've given you the chronology of how this matured. So now, even when, during the incubation period, at the floor of Parliament, we still had our Speaker of Parliament there, all our NDC MPs, all our MPP MPs. So it is quite hypocritical. Let me repeat again.
Okay.
For us to try and politicize this.
But the question
this
then
is a
would
government.
be that as those figures were being put out or being suggested, was there any consideration for the economic quagmire we find ourselves in? So that even though we indicate rightly so that there's a backlog, because the Deputy Minister has said that every day we're supposed to print about 5,000 passports. We're only able to print about 3,000 because there are challenges, the machines have issues, there's not enough money to print, all that. But the Ghanaian who is paying for that passport, did we also consider their economic situation so that at least we can meet them halfway?
You see,
and not use just one opportunity to make all the money that we're losing.
I totally agree with you. And these are questions that I also asked the person I spoke to. And the thing is, it is they took a unanimous decision in the subcommittee. So I think that these questions are best asked to these guys.
But we've heard Honorable Okujeto Ablakwa say that that is not what they agreed on. They advised that make it gradual. Don't give such an astronomical increase all of a sudden.
Yes, and I agree to that assertion. But what I'm saying is that these questions are meant for these people, because clearly they agreed on these fees. So if you had an objection to that particular review, you should have raised it up. Throughout the process, as I've elaborated, nobody lifted a finger on the floor of Parliament. For it to have matured for 21 days, now it has it's become a law. It's become an act where the president the executive need to consent to. So I think that we shouldn't be hypocritical about it. I agree to the fact that maybe we could have adjusted it, graduated in a way. But this is a non-bipartisan approach. It is not a Kufuor's government who has increased it. This is a legislative procedure that they followed, non-bipartisan, chaired by an NDC MP, Dr. Ayine.
It's interesting how you keep pointing at the fact that the chairman of that committee is NDC. But Elikem, I mean, I don't know if you've also been able to get some background information as to whether the minority side raised any objections to the figures that were proposed.
Yeah, I'm surprised at what my brother is saying. I would even cede a minute of my time for him to tell us publicly who he spoke to before coming here. It shouldn't be secret who, as a member, of the committee you spoke to, so you let the public know who exactly you spoke to.
It's up to him to decide to divulge that information.
You see, so it is convenient for one to lie just to justify a position and rather say it's hypocritical.
You're calling him a liar? But he spoke to someone.
Let me see. I can tell you here, I spoke to Honorable Ablakwa. He's a member. The members of the committee are not in a secret court. So if you spoke to a single one of them, be bold and proud to say, I spoke to this and that person. You are proud to mention even the chairperson consistently as a member of the NDC. You cannot lie that you spoke to an MPP person. No, there's nothing wrong.
Okay, let's give him that 1 minute or 30 seconds. Are you willing to divulge that information to tell us?
You willing to yes or no?
Yes, but I will not succumb to
that is it.
Okay.
Petty,
so you see,
this petty. I respect my brother, but it is the way I spoke to a member of Parliament who is a member of the subsidiary legislation.
But you are not ready to give out the details.
I don't think it's important for me to
Okay.
See, I mean, this is the irony of propagating falsehoods. I mean, the people who are members of
you can't be saying this about him on TV.
Let me give you the reason.
He said he spoke to someone.
You see,
okay, what are your reasons? Can you state your reasons without attacking his
No, I'm not attacking. My reasons are that if he dares mention any person, the person may come out to say, please, you didn't speak to me, I am sorry, not me. And so that you see, let us be genuine in our raising of concerns. Let us not hide behind smoke screens to say he was very plain in saying that it was hypocritical, these or all that. He was able to mention the chairperson of the committee.
But that's not a secret.
That is not a secret. And the membership is not a secret either. So if you cannot be bold and proud enough to mention whoever was able to make mention to you his position, then I reserve the right to then believe that you are probably lying. You get my point? The reason being that the minority, like Ablakwa said, Honorable Ablakwa said, look, they raise concerns that considering the economic quagmire we find ourselves in, it was not going to be appropriate to visit this untold hardship on the Ghanaian, especially when we all know as a fact that corruption has been a major result of all these things going on in this country. And we should look at it, that if we will gradually be putting in this is over 400 to 540% increment in fares. And we are talking about inflation of 23.2% when fares, charges on things are going up this way. And we should be able to be innovative enough to look at the ways. Okay, if you're a first-timer, should you pay this amount? If you are about to travel, should you pay a certain 5% or 10% over time? So within the period, you may look at an approach in making sure that you let people pay over time. Maybe even from 100 cities, you may say 250 or 300, where the first-timers will be paying more. And then if you are just making a replacement, you may pay a little less.
But Elikem, you see, you are giving the suggestion here.
Yes.
You and I are not privy to whatever conversations may have gone on.
So I am telling you the suggestions that were made.
These are suggestions they made per your conversation with Honorable Kudita Ablakwa.
Yes. You get it. You see, I have been able to tell you.
Richard, allow him to land. Allow him, then you can come in.
When I've got the confirmation that I can mention his name.
Okay, good.
So you see, somebody is now sending you message that please mention my name.
Because of course.
See, let us be bold as young men. And you see, people are viewing us. So I do not even care if you now, after having an afterthought, decided to now put out a name there. It already is embarrassing to show.
Sometimes you speak to people in private. You need to respect. Yes.
So that next time you can get information.
To serve on the community is a privilege by state. It's a privilege you have been given by the people watching you and myself. You can therefore not sit on national TV and say that you even need an express permission from the person you spoke to, who has been put on that committee by the very people watching you and myself.
Respect, and clearly you are
that is also that is a further corruption we always want to engage in. You see, our conduct, and I speak of this with so much passion, because as young men, we need to hold in high fidelity truth, trust, and honesty at all times. And when we try to cajole and play with matters as though we even know better than the people watching us, it's unfortunate. My point is that, look, when matters of this nature, and you have said, you've read or you've heard Honorable Ablakwa's position well. He has even stated that it will not end there. When Parliament resumes from recess, they will call the minister and the deputy to make sure they answer. Yeah. He has also stated that he's certainly not happy about that. That is one truth. We are all not happy with it. But then what can be done? What solutions can we prefer? Then they need to be called for answering so that we look at a recall of this decision for them to really look at how to implement it. That, okay, maybe we need to wait a little bit. Maybe, don't forget, I am aware that from August to just this month alone, over 6,000 of our nurses have left the shores of Ghana. That is, on average, 1,000 every month. I don't want to believe that this is an approach to be a restrictive measure to curtail people from traveling out of the country. But when there's an economic untold hardship on the people, you would expect nothing but this, and you get me. The truth remains also that people who want to travel will go for their passports anyways, regardless. But the fact also is that we must speak for the voiceless so that their concerns are also addressed. And so my brother should get me right. I'm not being attacking, I'm not being confrontational, but I just feel disappointed that you were not...
So relax. Producers, if you can just please call any member of the committee, Honorable Kujeto Ablakwa, if he's available, so we can hear from him and further understand how this decision is even made. So beyond just raising objections, is there a vote that is cast to determine if this should move forward to the next stage or not? If we can get him online, I would be grateful. But Richard...
can I suggest another member of the parliament?
Yes, why not?
So like I said, I call it respect. I've had a conversation with a member of parliament, and he's given me the information that I require for this program. And if I have not received his consent to mention the name, I see it as personally respecting that particular mutual relationship that we had. So whilst you were going on calling me names, as is very typical of the NDC, I quickly sent him a text. It's Honorable Osei Nyako, Kennedy Osei Nyako. So you can also call him. Don't call only...
well, if Honorable Osei Nyako is also available, maybe we can speak to him as well.
From my understanding, this bill was gazetted, and it takes 21 days for it to mature and it become an act. So that is why I keep hammering on the hypocritical aspect of it. If within the time of incubation you had only any objection, that was the time for you to raise it. You don't wait and come and throw dust into the people's eyes that when Parliament resume, we are going to do this and that and invite the minister to come, knowing full well that it has passed that stage. You rightly said, I am in no way justifying increment. But if we clearly, comparatively, among our sister nations, clearly still ours is cheaper. And even apart from it being cheaper, all the duration of the passport apart from Burkina in West Africa, the duration of the passport is 5 years, apart from Burkina Faso and Ghana, whose passport duration for this fee that we are going to be paying will last for 10 years. So and also I've cited the request that the Foreign Ministry sent to the subcommittee, and they were saying that this from August, the new passports that they are going to be enrolled, they are moving away from the biometrics to the chip-embedded passport, which is very, very expensive.
Will that also come with a different cost?
No, it is the same. But what they are doing is that periodically, depending on the costing of the products that they need to make these passports, they will periodically adjust. And this is going to be through the same system that I explained earlier, the legislative system that is going to be. So this is the new passport being adopted and being recommended by the ICU, the International Civil Aviation Organization. So that is that.
Okay. Well, I don't know if we have any of them on the line with us. Producers, do we? Okay, we're trying to reach either Honorable Osei Nyako or Honorable Ablakwa. We'll see if we can get them. But there's a message that's coming in, and Manuel Daku says that if Kucheto really objected to the increments, then why didn't he post it on his social media handles? I'm asking this question because Okujeto has never opposed something that has not found a way onto his walls. And so that's the question that one person is asking. Caspar says that these prices were not just burdened on Ghanaians. It went through the scrutiny. I mean, thorough scrutiny. The issue went to Parliament. So why is the NDC making noise?
Why is it that publicly they notified us that it was going to take effect on 1st of February, yet it didn't until 1st of April? Have they even explained that to us? We were told that it was 1st February. So why didn't it take effect on 1st of February? You get my point. Definitely because there were some bottlenecks and all of that. And that is why, for someone asking, okay, I will not respond to that. Because we all know Honorable Ablakwa, when matters arise of this nature arise, he will definitely speak about them. And so it is when he was expectant that having met, and this was the submission or the advice they gave, committee was expecting that the ministry would go by that advice which they gave. But you see, I think that the general notion is what we all share here, that it is just exorbitant. Over 400 to 500% increment is not justified. But for corruption, there would not be any need for even increasing these by a cedi or a peso. And it is the reason why we must always look at how to make sure we nip corruption in the bud, to stop the many activities that government and government functionaries have embarked on, which have depleted the public purse.
Well, Richard, so the other concerns about even getting a passport in this country is the fact that there are people who have been waiting in line for God knows how long.
I swear.
For months, maybe even a year.
Yeah.
Now, these people decided to be citizens. And they decided to go through the system, the channel the right way.
No.
And they've been waiting for months for their passports. Their biometrics have not been taken. Some of them, they'll call you to come and take your biometric, but then you're not even able to get your passport. Now, they're asking that, okay, if you're saying you're increasing the price, is that going to now resolve all those issues about backlog, Goro boys who are now going to also charge probably triple of the price because the reason has been given, even though we're hoping that that shouldn't even exist in the first place.
I strongly agree.
How do we intend to fix all that?
I strongly agree that because it's basic economics. When demand, when supply is low, demand is going to go up. So you find human institution, there are bad nuts everywhere trying to milk the lack of passport or availability of booklet and what have you to find other means to dupe people. And this is the reason why Honorable Okujetu asked these questions on the floor. And that led to the Parliament inviting the minister to come. And per the questions, it came out clear that the problem facing the passport office was actually financial. And so clearly, I sympathize with people who have been waiting for their passport, the delay, the backlog, but they've come to explain to us that, listen, if we want free, smooth procedure, this is the price that we have to pay. And the subcommittee have agreed, Parliament have agreed, and they moved on to a step further to say that they are looking to opening passport services offices in all the 16 regions to, answer to these questions. So I think that we should give them the support that they need. Yes, the increment doesn't sit well with a lot of people, including myself, but comparatively, I think we are doing better with the fact that we are still paying the lowest and we have the longevity, the 10-year. And one of my friends in UK sent me a test that why, because the current amount that we are paying equates to $8, whereas for people in UK they are paying £100. People in America who wants Ghanaian passport are paying $150. So situating both, they think it's only fair that ours move up to about $38, making sure that we do the right things to smoothen out our processes. I
see. Well, we do hope that people are able to pay, but there's also a question, and someone was saying, did you get Lawyer Ayene's name permission before mentioning his name? But he still went ahead to mention it.
He's the head. You see, he's the head.
and you see, Bella, it's so surprising.
He's the head of the committee.
We currently find ourselves in some very erratic power supplies. Government has failed today to admit that financial challenge is the reason we find ourselves there. But in printing of passports, they are bold to say that the challenge is financial. And it is the reason why Ghanaians are expecting you to own up and take responsibility, to accept that, look, the challenges we find ourselves in, including the doomsaw, which has almost come to stay now, is also a financial challenge. We do not have money. Because you already admitted you don't have money, you are still in talks with IMF, about to take the second program, etc. Let's find a way. It is the reason why I'm bringing this matter, because I feel I need a timetable as well to plan my life on how power is even distributed in this country.
Well, we're trying to raise Honorable Kennedy Osenyako to speak on this matter. Unfortunately, we've not been able to do that. We've not been able to reach Honorable Kujeto Ablakwa as well, but we're still trying. But what he posted on his Facebook, he said, I am terribly disappointed in Ghana's foreign ministry for the astronomical increases in passport application fees. As my NDC colleagues and I always maintain at the Foreign Affairs Committee, the current economic crisis and unprecedented high cost of living make it untenable to impose these draconian fees. We insisted at committee that the worst-case scenario could be a graduated approach when economic conditions improve. But alas, they ignored our advice and have gone ahead to impose these insensitive rates in one fell swoop. The ministry should reconsider this inimical action immediately. We shall surely revisit this matter when Parliament resumes from recess. And that's what Honorable Samuel Kujeto Ablakwa posted on his social media pages when the announcement was officially made. We'll still try and get in touch with one of them to find out how this even moves from the committee stage to the next stage. Is there even a vote? And I don't know if maybe you were able to find out.
Bella is past all the effusions that the Honourable is making. So that is why I keep saying it's quite hypocritical. Because
yeah, but at the committee level, what I'm trying to understand is, was there a vote? And was it unanimous, which is why it moved to the next stage? Or how do they pass it on?
It's a collective effort. Even if there's a vote, it will come out as the committee's review. But what I'm saying, that's not even the main focus. From that subcommittee level, the document then came to the plenary stage, where it will be there for 21 days for all members of parliament who have objection, even one, to raise it. The Honourable Kujeto was in Parliament for 21 days, or is he telling us for 21 days he was absent from Parliament? Something that you raised, that drawn the minister to come, the sector minister to come and address. Parliament then directed them to the Subsidiary Legislation Committee to come up with a plan to make sure that our passport, the production of our passport is sustainable, efficient, that the backlog will be cleared. They came up with a vivid solutions. For 21 days, he laid on the seat of Parliament. For 21 days. Is the Honourable telling me that he did not see it? You wait for it to be mature, to become an act, and don't go on Facebook to throw that into the public eye. I think we should do better.
So he shouldn't have gone on Facebook? Is that your concern?
No, I think we should do better as politicians, because he's someone people look up to. I think we should do better.
But we've known him to always put it on Facebook as well.
Some people, but for some of us, I think it's a lot of populace and just, to get likes, the clickbait and all that. Because Bella, I've taken.
He's put out a lot of exposés that have generated investigations. But I've taken you through the chronology of how a bill is matured. And so why did no NDC MP raise the finger at the seat of Parliament that this fee, can we graduate it so that we will move from $10 to $20 to $30? None of them did that. But that's what Elikem is saying, that there was a suggestion like that.
Wasn't.
If you look at Kujeto Ablakwa's statement, he says that there was some form of advice like that.
If there was any, just a single one, it would have delayed I'm not right to say gestation, to delay the incubation period.
Okay, there was a delay from February to April. Would you want to justify that was the reason?
The 21 days that is legal for the bill to become an act has already passed. You sat in Parliament, whether it was delayed, whether it was that bill is now an act. And so when you go on Facebook to say all these kind of things, to me, it's hypocritical.
Okay. Well, we're still trying to reach them. Like I said, we're trying to reach Honorable Kennedy Osenyako at this point. Hopefully, we can speak to him so we can quickly move on from this topic. But let me just also go back on Facebook and see what people are saying, because, of course, there are concerns that it's still too high and a number of people cannot afford it. Now, let's see. Inso Anthony, I'm not sure I want to read this message at this point. Let me see what else I can find. Okay. Rene Lopez says, Richard won't let Ghanaians believe it was Honorable Sam's fault in the increment. Okay. Aziz Zakari says, my question is this price adjustment included for those who filled forms earlier?
For my understanding, no.
Okay.
If you apply before 1st of April, you are excluded from the new adjustment. That's per my understanding that I found out yesterday.
Okay. Well, Stephen says that A Blackwell's objection is now issue of discussion. Can't we talk about the rationale behind this robbery by the state? We voted for a government and should be tasking and questioning their acts and not running around the subject matter. Nobody's running around it.
We're explaining.
Nobody's running around it. But let me see. I think we have Honorable Kennedy Osenyako on the phone. Hello, sir.
Good.
Hello.
Good morning. Thank you so much for joining us.
Good morning.
Well, I believe that based on the permission to even mention your name in the first place, we can have this conversation. You are on the subcommittee that, started this conversation about the increment in the price for passport application fees. Now, what exactly ensued? And did the minority side raise any objections when these figures were proposed?
Well, thank you for having me on your show. Yes, during the budget presentation, an issue was raised when we were discussing the budget for Ministry of Foreign Affairs. An issue of this backlog of printing of passports came up, and it became a whole discussion. So, in response to the issue raised by members, the Minister for Foreign Affairs then responded and gave the reason why there have been delays and backlogs in terms of passport printing and all those kind of things. So he appealed to the House that because of the cost of printing, it has become so difficult for them to even get the source document or get the supplier to supply them with the document for them to print the passport, because the amount we are paying as compared to other countries who are also sourcing the same materials from the same supplier. I mean, it seems like we are paying the less in the sub-region. So we advise him that, okay, he should formally make a request, okay, to the House, so that we can look at it, then see where, if we have to come in and work on how they can review the prices upward. So they did, and it came to a committee which I'm a member of it, subsidiary legislative committee. This committee is chaired by an NDC chairman, Dr. Anyene. He is the chairman of it because it's chaired by an opposition. It was a non-partisan decision that we took because we realized that Ghana charges about $8.30 for printing a passport. And we thought the cheapest, that you could even find within the West African sub-region was Ghana. The next was Liberia, which was charging $40 for printing a passport. So we said, okay, let's look at the various cost components in relation to printing of a passport. So we discussed, they submitted a document, we discussed, and it's okay. I think they have a fair case. We can help them. Equally, there will not be more delays in the printing of the passport to the people. So it was a consensus. By partisan discussion, we have a general consensus by the committee level. Then they have to lay the instrument. After 21 days, the instrument has matured.
Okay.
I don't know. Nobody raised an issue to the committee or even to the House that maybe what they have brought, maybe we need to look at it. At any point in time, we could have truncated it. If the issue about the cost have been raised by the public and all, we could have truncated it because the law permits us to truncate. But it transfer up to the 21
Honorable,
days.
hold on.
Yes.
So are you saying that what Honorable Sam Okudzeto-Ablakwa posted on his social media page is not entirely true? Because he said that his NDC colleagues insisted at committee that the worst case scenario could be a graduated approach.
Is he a member? Is he a member of the committee? In the first place, is he a member of the committee?
So he's not a member?
He's not a member of the subsidiary legislative committee. He's not a member. So if you are not a member, you are not part of the discussion. You never attended any of our meetings discussing this matter, and you come. Though you are a member of the Foreign Affairs Committee, but this issue came to the subsidiary committee. Okay? So if you come and you talk, you are speaking as if you are a member of, I don't know, maybe their committee, they have met them. They have raised that issue at their committee level. I have no problem, which is a ranking member for the Foreign Affairs. I don't have any problem. It could be an issue that they discuss at their committee level. If it is, it has come. It's an instrument that matures. So if it comes and said, okay, let's go, we should go and review it as part of the fees and charges. Okay, it's good. What you have brought to us, we think it is good. Go ahead and do it. When we were meeting as a subsidiary legislative committee, ask Okujetu whether he attended, he was part of our meeting. He's not a member of the committee.
And all
he
of
never
you
attended the meeting.
And all of you on the committee agree that the 500, 600, 700, 800 charge was okay. Did you consider the economic conditions at the moment to find out if Ghanaians will be able to?
They have given us the cost of printing a passport. They gave us the breakdown. They did the presentation. We had that meeting at where this Papa Kwesi Indum hotel, I don't know, around the rich area. That's where we had it.
Okay,
we had
Coconut Grove.
Okay, they did the presentation. So we said, okay, no problem. They gave reasons. We did the comparison to other countries. We look at how much they have been sourcing the raw materials and the cost of producing it and all those things. And we pegged it at 500 for the ordinary passport. It was to go to the ordinary. There was no any issue about it. Okay, there was no any issue at the committee level. People might have raised an issue, but at the end of the day, a consensus was built that if that will make the passport office or the foreign affairs ministry be able to print all the backlog, because they gave us, I've forgotten the total number of backlog of passport that you mentioned, and as a result of their inability to get. And government even says that he's withdrawing the subsidy in printing passport, because around the globe, they don't see where a government gives a subsidy in printing a passport. Somebody traveling on his own, and government have to subsidize, use the taxpayers' money to subsidize for the printing of a passport for somebody who is traveling outside, whether for vacation, whether for whatever it is. Why should we use the taxpayers' money to subsidize for the printing? Government has already indicated that he's pulling out that the subsidy that is given in the printing of the passport. So if you take that one out, the subsidy out, then it means who should bear the cost for it? It means the applicant must bear the cost for it. So yes, I understand the concern raised by the general public, which is a genuine concern that, some might not have the money to print the passport. It's a concern, which I agree, which maybe the Foreign Affairs Ministry and the Finance Ministry may want to go back and sit down and look at issues and see if they can. But we shouldn't create the impression that there was not a discussion about it, whether in the House or as a committee. But I agree generally that, they can look at it, they can sit down. The fact that the fees and charges have been passed doesn't mean that they cannot look at it. They can even decided that, we are looking at the implementation period and see and push it forward. They can look at all this. It shouldn't be a problem about, we shouldn't have a difficulty about this matter.
Well, thank you so much for speaking to us this morning, Honorable Kennedy Osenya, who's a Member of Parliament for Achim Swedro constituency in the Eastern region. And he's thrown some light on this. He says that Honorable Sam Okudzeto Ablakwa is not even a member of the committee, first of all. And so this conversation is moot.
No, you see, the point is that what is the substance of what is being discussed here? Honorable Ablakwa is letting you know that, look, we advised that the figures are too much,
but that's
and
what
that will be
saying.
untold hardships.
The advice was not done in the committee meeting.
Yes, but even as he's also a member of the Foreign Affairs Committee, and this also equally falls, the subsidiary committee falls under the Foreign Affairs Committee. So when he is, you see, it is one thing trying to talk about the substance of the matter to rather look at around it. Because the concern, you see, even in the end, he is also saying, he agrees that the figures are too much. That is the same thing Honorable Ablakwa has stated in his post, that the timing for this is just not right, because in absolute terms, nobody would want the Ghanaian public to be visited with such untold hardships at a time of this nature. When we have just given you statistics that even our nurses alone, over 6,000 of them have left this country in seek of greener pastures, there's the need for you to look at the economic situation we find ourselves in. Consider gradually applying these so that people will feel that, yes, there's been some bit of relief. And I also did state here that one of the major reasons why we keep complaining about matters of this nature has been as a major result of corruption. And number two, if we are able to state clearly that finance is the major reason why we are now finding ourselves in this place, what has been our consensus or our statement relating to other matters in which we are suffering as a result of our financial incapability?
Well, Richard, so the Director of Communications for the NDC has also sent a message. Mr. Kakra Samoa Esquire, good morning to you. He says, the NPP rep is misleading the public. Once a subsidiary legislation goes to the plenary, it can only be overturned by two-thirds of all members of Parliament. Therefore, one person objecting in plenary would be an impotent act.
I am asking whether the Honorable Okudzeto did that. Did he even try? Did he even try to do that on the floor of Parliament? No, he didn't. So is the Honourable telling me that he didn't know that this was what was going on at the subcommittee level as a ranking member of the Foreign Affairs in Parliament? Is he telling me he had no idea, he was oblivious to this? Come on, give me a break. Give me a break. We need to respect our listeners and viewers.
This is an interesting one. But good morning, Mr. Robert Coleman. We're grateful to you for watching and also supporting the production team.
Again,
well.
I'm not sure whether you've cited the reasons for these adjustments.
Please give us if you have those details.
I will have to give it to you unless before my brother says something.
Permission to use your phone. Since this morning we're seeking permission for every action we take.
To it.
Okay, so the ministry, as part of its mandate, has put in place measures to improve its revenue collection in 2023 by enhancing service delivery in other regions of the country and missions abroad. In addition to enhanced passport service delivery, the ministry will tighten its oversight mechanisms to reduce revenue losses and leakages to middlemen. The ministry will continually pursue timely and efficient service delivery to the public by establishing the passport application centres in all regional capitals. A cursory survey of passport prices in the West African sub-region indicates that the prices charged in Ghana per passport booklet is the lowest, considering the rate of inflation in Ghana, coupled with the Russia-Ukraine war. Here too.
Yeah, I mean, continue, because it disrupted supply chains.
Coupled with the Russia-Ukraine war and its impact on global supply chains,
absolutely,
it has become necessary to adopt a structured approach aimed at reviewing the prices of passport booklets periodically in order to forestall the lengthy review periods and the negative impact on the quality of services rendered to the public. The structured approach should enable automatic adjustments in the prices of booklets to reflect actual costs of production. And that's where they list the charges for the other nations, and I mentioned that earlier, and what we are charging.
Yeah, and this is just a guide.
But Russia-Ukraine war here too.
I mean, no.
Hold on.
The point is that it is explaining why the supply chain has been affected. But the comparisons from our sister nations, it's not even the core thing that we are discussing here. We want people to apply their passport, given the time frame. You've given me a week to come for my passport. I want to come 1 week, collect my passport, and go away. Now, people have been applying passport over a year and still waiting. It's become a concern. A member of Parliament raised this. The minister has been invited to come and explain why this is happening. She's been honest with you and telling you that it's because the things that I need to give a Ghanaian a passport is going high across the world. But we are still paying the same fee that we used to pay years ago. It has come to a point that for every passport issued to a Ghanaian, the government of Ghana has to pay 300 cedis. So government then realized, per the situation we find ourselves in, realized that this is unsustainable. And therefore, we should take a critical look at it. We've gone to the subsidiary legislation committee. They've approved that review.
Okay.
It has matured to an act. Then you come out and say this and this.
The statement could have been put out without the whole Russia-Ukraine war, which is what I'm asking.
Well,
but
that is for them.
Isha Haku says that you should apologize to Richard for calling him a liar.
No, I cannot.
Come on, Elikin.
I didn't even say he was a liar, but I'll say I'll come back.
Look,
we all know what resulted in him eventually doing so. But you see,
do politics. I think we should put a lot of respect into it.
It seems so convenient that even at a matter of this nature, they are again quick to want to cite Russian, Ukraine, COVID, etc. And then when you're telling them of the quagmire we find ourselves and the economic mess and how our neighboring sisters are all improving faster and better than us, they do not want to be equated or be juxtaposed with those people. So it is some kind of hypocrisy of cherry picking as and when they feel that this favors them and that does not. It doesn't hold water. The substance of this matter still remains that the Ghanaian public out there watching you and myself remains resolute that these are astronomical figures, considering the economic challenge you put us in yourselves, and the fact that we have become very privy to the fact that corruption has been a major swimming pool for this regime. So how do I put it? Try to put a plug on these so that there will not even be the need for you to necessarily. Well, how about the fact that even though neighboring countries are charging 40, 100, etc., it shall be known that Ghana charges the cheapest? What is wrong with that? Are we in competition with the outside country?
But if we cannot keep supporting...
No, that's what I'm saying. So it's not a matter of if we cannot. If you really promise the things you said, pardon me, Bella, if indeed by your campaign promises that you are going to make $1 one cedi, if it still remained relevant today, you would not even justify the need to effect any increment of this, because the potency of the cedi would have allowed you to stay at where it is. But it's because the cedi is galloping to actually catch up with the dollar. That is a major challenge, a major reason why we find ourselves in this situation.
Okay, well, Nelson Yesuto Kofi Akochia says that is our passport office headquartered in Russia or Ukraine. Barry Maya Deborah says, before the increase, we paid €120 for passports at the embassy in Brussels. I think government has been managing things well and that the increase should have been gradual. We have Honorable Okujeto Ablakwa on the phone, and we want to speak to him as well. Hello, sir. Good morning.
Hi, good morning, Bella.
Thank you for joining us, and I hope you're well.
I'm good. How about you?
I'm fine. Thank you very much. So we've been discussing the concerns regarding the increase in passport application fees. And we've seen your post where you indicated that yourself and your NDC members in Parliament had raised some concerns about, you know, the price increase. And you thought that there should have been a gradual increment to that. We've spoken to Honorable Kennedy Osenya. He says you're not even on the committee. And so how are you the one raising these concerns when they did not get that information?
Well, good morning to you. It is important to emphasize that Parliament does not have only one committee. I am the ranking member on the Foreign Affairs Committee. The Honorable Kennedy Osenya, who is not a member of our committee.
Okay.
This matter was first raised at the Foreign Affairs Committee during the consideration of the estimates of the Ministry for Foreign Affairs and Regional Integration for the 2024 fiscal year. That was when the Foreign Minister dropped the hint that they would want to increase the passport fees and that they are of the view that it has not been reviewed for a long time. The records will reflect that we in the NDC, and as leader of the NDC caucus on the Foreign Affairs Committee, I made clear that the timing is absolutely unacceptable. We are faced with an unprecedented cost of living crisis. We have an economic crisis on our hands where people, for the first time in the history of our country, are being asked to go through a domestic debt exchange program. People are being compelled to take financial haircuts. Pensioner bondholders can have access to their life savings. So we made the point that the timing is totally insensitive. It cannot be accepted by us. And that was the last we heard from the ministry on this matter. They said that they will come back to us later with some more detail, because I even made additional points that, look, this business of even comparing Ghana with other countries, in printing, there's a principle known as the more you print, the lesser the cost. So comparing us, looking at the population of Ghana and comparing us with the likes of Togo, Benin, Liberia, and all of that, when there's economies of scale, is misleading. Then I also said that if you are also basing the justification for this increment on the exchange rate, whose duty is it to manage the exchange rate? I mean, you have mismanaged this economy, mismanaged the exchange rate, and now you want to punish citizens for your mismanagement. So there were many reasons we gave, including the fact that if you go through the procurement processes, it's not competitive. So when you don't go through a competitive arrangement, you will not get value for money. Your pricing will always be expensive. So for these reasons, we said that, look, we will not be in a position to support this, even when they present to us formally the request. Because remember that this was happening on the sidelines of the budget approval.
Okay.
Now, the next we heard was that they had taken advantage of the fees and charges at another committee, which is the Subsidiary Legislation Committee, different from the Foreign Affairs Committee. Now, people must understand the parliamentary process. Once this Fees and Charges Act is laid, you need 2/3 to be able to stop this. the NDC MPs don't have 2/3. So once it is laid after 21 days, it is law.
Okay.
So people should understand my statement and our position on this matter. What happened at the Foreign Affairs Committee is different from what must have happened at other committees or what other people want to talk about. People should stay within the statement as I put out and what transpired at the Foreign Affairs Committee, where this matter was first raised. And I think that clarification is absolutely crucial. And we have been consistent at the Foreign Affairs Committee about this matter. If you talk to colleagues even on both sides, and later today we will publish minutes from the Foreign Affairs Committee proceedings on the consideration of the 2024 budget estimate. And you will see that what I have put out are the facts. And I insist that the decision by the Foreign Ministry is totally obnoxious, is draconian. There can be no justification for these astronomical increases at this time. And they should review it. They have an opportunity now to review it. If they do not, when the House returns from recess, we will trigger actions to revisit this matter.
And when you revisit the matter and it comes to a point where it has to be reviewed also on the floor of Parliament, that would also require a vote. No?
Yes, that will require a vote.
If you don't have the 2/3 still, then that means that we're not going to make any headway with this.
Well, with that, if you want to rescind that particular decision, a simple majority will suffice. But it is important to emphasize that even though they have the LI now after the 21 days, they can use an administrative discretion. That gives you more of a ceiling. So they can use an administrative discretion, looking at the backlash, looking at the complaints of Ghanaians, to take a second look at the rates within what has been given. My understanding is that without parliamentary practice is that you will not have the power to charge above when these ceilings are given. But anything below, you can use administrative discretion as a minister to do that. That is why we are still appealing to the ministry to reconsider, because they can charge below what is contained in the LI.
Thank you so much, Honourable, for speaking to us this morning. Honourable Sam Okudzeto Black was the MP for Northong. And a few messages before we wrap up. Atta says that let's stop playing politics and be realistic. Politicizing everything is unfortunate. Kofi Ocha John says, Bella, are we the only country which has been hit by Russia-Ukraine war? They should fix the country and stop these fallacies. This is from Jonas from Brewaniasi. Okay. And then Boachi Prince. Okay, I'll jump that. But also another message. Sorry, I'll come to you shortly so we can go. Why are we worried about increasing the application fees of passports when Dr. Baumia has constantly told us about the superiority of the Ghana card as a travel document? This is from Isahaku from Tamale. There's a statement, producers. Can I quickly just read that statement to wrap up, if you don't mind? Let me just open it quickly and then we can go. So there's a statement from the Office of Parliament, and I just want to go straight to that. Okay, it's a petition from, the Director General for the CID, Ghana Police Service, I beg your pardon. And it says, petition for the arrest, investigation and prosecution of Bobu Wulomo Nubo Bokete Lawe, the 33rd. The humble petition of Francis Xavier Kojo Sosu Esquire, the Member of Parliament in the Republic of Ghana for the Medina constituency. I'm a Ghanaian, a human rights lawyer and an activist, and a Member of Parliament for the Medina constituency. That on the 1st of April 2024, I read on several news portals to my disappointment the marriage of Numo Bokete Lawe, the 33rd, hereinafter called the Wulomo, to Miss Na Okromo, pardon me, a 12-year-old child, hereinafter called the child. That in particular, reference to a news item on myjoyonline.com dated 1st of April 2024. The said marriage ceremony took place on Saturday, March 30, 2024 in Nungwa. That in my respectful view, the conduct of the Wulomo constitutes a breach of both local and international laws on child care and protection, and the said conduct is criminal. And then it moves on to say, okay, well, we'll just wrap up on this, but that's the petition from Honourable Francis Xavier Sosu, and he did mention yesterday that he was going to file a petition. That has been done. We'll see how this progresses. But Elikem, Kotoko is the deputy organizer, national organizer for the NDC. We have to go, unfortunately.
I just
2
want
seconds.
I just want to say kudos to the Eastern Regional Organizer and Youth Organizer, Kabori and Richard Nyako, aka Blibo, for their stellar planning, organization and execution of the 10,000 walk in Kwehu with JM, which was a marvelous program.
Richard Jemfi is a member of the New Patriotic Party communications team. Thank you so much for joining us as well. Yes, 2 seconds.
It's the Honorable Senyaku's birthday today, actually.
Oh, is it? You should have told me, so we wish him.
So happy
Did you sing his permission?
Yes. So happy birthday to him. And I want to say a big congratulations to MPP for a massive walk, and also to the incoming president who gave us bold solutions versus the old solutions as compared to John Mahama. So we wish His Excellency, the incoming president, Dr. Muhammad Bawumia, a good Ramadan.
Thank you so much. And he says no more burning of excavators if he comes into power. Anyway, thank you for watching. We still have more coming up. This is TV3 New Day. Don't go anywhere.